He was more than just a gangster. To some, a hero, to others, a monster. Harry Fowles, better known as baby-faced Harry, a young man with a round, innocent-looking face and a reputation that made all of Birmingham tremble. It's been over 100 years since he roamed the streets with the Peaky Blinders. But the myth still lives, in newspapers from back then, in museums today, and in the stories we tell. But who was the man behind the myth? How does a boy from the slums become a symbol of a brutal era? Birmingham in the 1880s. At the front, shiny shopping streets and new parks. Behind them, narrow, stinking alleys, overcrowded housing, disease, unemployment. In districts like Small Heath and Steckford, thousands of children grow up in bitter poverty. Violence is part of everyday life. Youth gangs brawl in broad daylight, throw stones, rob passers-by. Harry Fowles is born into this world around 1884. He is one of 5 brothers: George, Fred, Alf, Joseph, and Harry. An entire family soon connected to the criminal underworld, Harry learns early. On the street, it's not morality that counts, but power. Those who are unpredictable and brutal get respect. At the same time, a new generation of street gangs is emerging: teenagers, some barely 12 years old. They dress flashily, are merciless in a fight, and will later become famous under one name: Peaky Blinders. No one knows exactly how Harry comes to join the Peaky Blinders, but one thing is certain. In 1904, he really comes into the sights of the police for the first time. At 19 years old, he is arrested for bicycle theft and a house burglary. On the police photo, you see a young man with a round face, a crooked smile, and a cap pulled low over his forehead. That baby face gives him his nickname, Baby-Faced Harry. Together with his mates Ernest Haynes and Stephen McNichol, he is sent to prison for a month. A court describes the 3 as foul-mouthed young men who roam the streets in drunken gangs, abuse passers-by, and rob them. A perfect short summary of early gang life. Legend says the Peaky Blinders hid razor blades in their caps. Historians see it differently. What is more likely is this. Peaky refers to the peaked flat cap. Blinder was slang for someone who is extremely well-dressed, so the Peaky Blinders were literally stylish thugs. Their look was their trademark: flat, peaked caps, tailored jackets, silk neckerchiefs, baggy trousers, heavy boots, elegantly dressed, brutal in their actions. Harry Fowles learns the underworld trade from older gangsters like Thomas Gilbert, also known as Kevin Mooney. They show him how to extort protection money, organize smuggling, and attack rival gangs. In the 1890s, the Peaky Blinders wage bloody battles with the Cheapside Sloggers. Fists, bricks, belts with metal buckles, knives, everything is used. The street becomes a battlefield. One particularly brutal example from Harry's circle: in 1901, police officer Charles Gunter is fatally injured by members of the Fowles family with a brick. Several relatives receive 15-year prison sentences. By this point, at the latest, it is clear the police have the Peaky Blinders and their environment firmly on the radar. If you enjoyed today's video, drop a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Despite arrests, the influence of the Peaky Blinders continues to grow in the early 20th century. Birmingham is an industrial city full of contradictions. Wealth here, hopelessness there, and it is exactly there that the gangs cash in. The Peaky Blinders control entire streets, extort protection money, organize illegal gambling, rob and smuggle. Their power is based less on brilliant planning and more on sheer fear. Many of their crimes are more spontaneous and stupid than ingenious. Shoplifting, bicycle theft, brawls, whenever an opportunity presents itself. At the same time, the press turns them into stars of the underworld. Newspapers paint a picture of fashionably dressed, dangerous, uncontrollable young men. Their style, colorful scarves, gold accessories, even impresses parts of the working class. Some even see them as a kind of rebels who fight for the poor. Historians disagree. The real Peaky Blinders mainly looted their own neighbors. At this time, Harry Fowles enjoys the reputation of a fearless and charismatic street crook. His young face makes him look more harmless than he is. He is said to have liked to say he was just a businessman who provides what people want. There is no romance behind that line, only the cold justification of a man who uses violence as a business model. Their notoriety goes so far that people simply claim to be Peaky Blinders just to inspire respect or fear. Shortly before the First World War, Harry and his gang reach the height of their power, but then the wind turns. The First World War drags all of Europe into the abyss, and Harry Fowles with it. Like many young men from Birmingham, he volunteers for military service. He ends up in the trenches of France. During an artillery attack, something happens that changes his life forever. Harry is buried by a mortar blast and lies buried alive for 12 hours. When they finally dig him out, he can neither see nor speak. The injuries are severe, the damage permanent. Other Peaky Blinders members also fight, for example at the Battle of the Somme. Many do not return, and those who do come back return as broken men. After the war, nothing is as it was. Harry returns to Birmingham, but the streets now belong to others. The rival Birmingham boys under Billy Kimber have seized the power vacuum and pushed the Peaky Blinders aside. On top of that come a tougher police force, harsher sentences, social change. Many former gangsters grow older, look for legal jobs, or disappear into obscurity. Harry Fowles, however, wears his war injuries like chains. His hearing and his voice are permanently damaged. He is marked physically, broken on the inside. To survive, he resorts to a bizarre idea. He dresses up as a Red Cross nurse and sells postcards of himself on the street. The once feared street gangster in women's clothing, begging for spare change, power has turned into misery. Baby-faced Harry has become an impoverished war invalid. Today, only files, photographs, and legends remember Harry Fowles. At the West Midlands Police Museum, police photos of Harry and his accomplices hang on the wall, serious young faces in stiff coats, not as great crime bosses, but often recorded for shop breaking, bicycle theft, or fraud. In pop culture, however, the Peaky Blinders have made a comeback. Since 2013, the BBC series Peaky Blinders has made the gang famous worldwide. The characters in the series are often brilliantly organized, ice-cold, almost heroically portrayed. Reality looked different. The real Peaky Blinders were earlier, less organized street brawlers of the late 19th century, not the super-smart gangsters of the 1920s, yet fans still flock to Birmingham today, to the Black Country Living Museum or to Small Heath, to walk in the footsteps of the series' characters, to buy merchandise, to take photos. Historians like Carl Chin, however, warn, we should not forget that these men were not Robin Hoods, but criminals who mainly robbed and abused their own neighborhoods. Enjoyed this episode? Give it a like and subscribe to the channel. More crime docs coming soon. Don't miss out. Harry Fowles' name lives on, as a myth and as a warning. He stands for a boy from the underclass who is ground down between poverty, greed, and violence. His path leads from the gangly kid from the slums to the feared gangster of the Peaky Blinders, from soldier in the trenches to a broken, impoverished man on the street. The story of Harry Fowles is not just the story of a gangster. It is the story of a city, of a lost generation, and of an era that could never get enough. Harry Fowles has long since died, but his name remains as a warning, as a mirror, and as a reminder that behind every legend there is a human being.